Drew Gibson has this company, Finish Line Discs, and they have recently released 2 new molds. You've seen probably most of their molds dropped on my channel before, but these 2 are probably the 2 that I'm most excited about, and I really loved the interval for a while, which is their 12-speed driver. First up, we have the Sector, which is a 5-speed. I don't really know the numbers, but it looks honestly very similar to a Clash Discs Cherry. I don't actually have a Cherry to compare it to, so I brought out some discs that we'll throw against it, Pathfinder being the main one, as well as a Chariot that I bagged for a while, because this is kind of my straighter mid-range that I had for most of the season. Also got signed by the 1-time Isaac Robinson, now the 2-time. But we're going to play 9 holes here at Lower Badlands. It's a little early in the morning. I actually have a flight to catch in a couple hours, and it looks like we have an interesting fence to go over on hole number 1. But besides just the Sector, which honestly I'm probably most excited about, this green one specifically, the plastic, this new composite plastic, I don't know if it's new or not, but it feels absolutely incredible. And this is a disc that, before even throwing it, hand feel, plastic feel, and shape, I could see this going in my bag. I'm guessing it's gonna be more overstable than the Supra and very similar to like a stable buzz. The other disc though, the Chicane, which I actually had to look up, means like winding, the windingness of a road. But this is kind of like a zone looking disc. And so I brought out a zone looking, well, a zone, not a zone looking disc, a zone. Looking at the profiles here, there's a little bit of a difference. It's not very significant. This is like a little bit blunter and flatter, where zones can come out puddle topped. Interestingly, when I unboxed them in a banana froth video, I feel like the weight is distributed so evenly around the disc, which is kind of atypical because a lot of times there's more weight on the rim than in the middle, which for an approach disc might actually be good, but I don't know. So we'll see. 9 holes. We're gonna start on hole 1. I think the goal, we'll just put it at 2 down and see if any of them have the potential to make my bag. You guys know I like to play 2 off the top here. So we'll go 1 Chicane, 1 Sector. Oh man, I'm so excited for this. We have a pretty decent left to right. Basket straight ahead, 300 and something feet. I can still take the hyzer out, but with this left to right, I don't think it would actually work. So the Sector, kind of right at it, try to drift it in, see if it's got some late stability. Oh yes. Not the best shot for the basket. I think that's almost exactly how I wanted that disc to fly. In a head left to right, to fight it the whole way, get a little slow fade. I did not know what to expect from that based on watching Drew throw it, because he throws 600 miles an hour. Now we have the Chicane. It's gonna be hard for me to not say zone, but it's not a zone. That's so nice. Yes, pretty good. It's gonna be a long putt from both of those. I threw that pretty much exactly how I wanted to. Oh, now I have a long walk over. Broderick had actually thrown the Chicane when he was with Drew in Arizona earlier in the year sometime, and was telling me that it was kind of like an A5 style disc. The feel of that, and maybe it's just the plastic, because I think they had it in the forged. This is, I believe, their composite. The feel of it is much more stable than any A5 that I'd ever thrown, and it just proved that in that flight. A5 would have rolled over a little bit. That flies kind of in between my Z-Zone and my ESP, I believe. So I'll throw those against it later down the line. But I threw both of those pretty much how I wanted to, and they did pretty much what I expected. Liked a lot of stuff that they've done. I loved the interval for a while, and then a lot of the runs came out a little domier than what I had liked it for. And as my arm sped up a little bit too, I fell out of love with it a little bit. But these are the 2 discs I'm by far the most excited for out of anything that he's come out with. In the mid-range slot is a slot in my bag that I am not crazy comfortable with right now. And the feel of this plastic is kind of similar to like a Jolly launcher plastic from Innova, from what I remember of it. And so I could see a world in which I am a Sector thrower through and through. The Sector is past the long pin, so really great shot. Not overstable, but kind of what a true 5501 would fly like. But we got a nice little circle edge putt to start. 1 down. This feels so good. It's almost like a mix between a drop and a zone, because the drop felt a little bigger in my hands. It feels more drop-like to me almost than the zone. So maybe Discmania copied off the Chicane. I don't even have a Twitter, but I'm gonna start some Twitter conspiracy theories. Hole 2, up the hill. Doesn't look super far, maybe like the 260-foot range, but uphill. So it'd actually be a pretty good one to compare some of these guys. Okay, this says 276. Because I'm still kind of warming up a little bit, we're gonna throw, ooh, that's not it, the Sectors. Also, I know these all say Team Finish Line. Big shout out to Marcus, who always sends stuff out and does the fulfillment for Drew and everything. I'm not on the team, but I like him a lot. Drew, shoot me a contract. Yeah, this plastic, just incredible. It does remind me a little bit of the Supra on the bottom, just because of how it kind of grips into your hand a little bit more. But I think even with this little left to right, it'll actually hold a hyzer up there instead of flipping. like this frisbee. Wow. Maybe try a little like turnover that just kind of pans the flat in it. No way. Oh my gosh. Dude. Okay, here's the Pathfinder that I brought out. What a disc. So it kind of holds similarly. I didn't throw that one nearly as high. And Chariot. I think the sector is going to kind of fit in like with those discs. Not very consistent releases on all those, but that's kind of what it reminds me of. So now we'll throw a forehand and a backhand with the chicane, see how it compares to the zone. I mean, that's kind of like a zone. That's so good. That did have a little bit of a mellower finish than I expected with the zone. I'll throw the zone first real fast. Zone does feel a little shallower in this plastic, but it could be just the puddle top. And it does feel like the rim is much thicker than the flight plate, which is not the case over there. They all feel like uniform thickness. I mean, those flights are pretty comparable. Pretty comparable. It could have been the wind that accounted for that lack of fade. I like fighting the tooling on my zones. I just thought this was like a monster over here, and it's just a dude. Wow, that scared the crap out of me. I just saw a bush moving, and it was just a dude carrying a bunch of trees. But I always look for the Discraft tooling whenever I'm going to throw my zones, and I was like, dang it, that's the one downside. But they have the finish line tooling underneath here, as well as PDJ approved. So there's two places to find that little tooling, which I'm stoked on. Let's see if we can throw a nice little sidearm up there. Yeah. Wow. It reminds me of a more mellow drop. Got a little flutter out of it, but even into that left to right, it faded out of it. So I guess speed of the drop, stability of the zone. There's the ESP, which I threw much cleaner. Yeah, I think it's gonna sit in between the ESP zone and the Z zone in terms of stability while having a little bit more speed. Put me on the team, coach. I'm putting these in my bag. I'll probably still put the sector in my bag no matter what. I can't say that after 2 holes, but your second ever shot with it, you bounce it off the top of the basket, and it does exactly what you want 2 times in a row. Woo. This feels like it was made for my hands. Calling this one 251. It looks to be a touch longer than that. Maybe flip the 2 last holes in terms of distance. I do like this low ceiling here. Makes you want to force a flex, or I bet throwing this just kind of smooth to the right of the basket is what this hole is looking for. Or into the ground. Oh, that's... Wow. I was afraid of that low ceiling, I guess. I was afraid of that, I guess. Probably should have been a chicane on a little flex. Yeah, that disc has a little bit of glide. That got there pretty easily. Nice. I will say this color combo of the green and purple is so clean. All right, we got a decent little left to right here. Pretty much straight left to right. So we'll be able to see how the sector holds up against that. Looks like this hole's only about 310-ish feet. I think it probably should be a chicane with the wind, unfortunately, but we'll see if this has any fade. Yeah, it calls this one 339. So it should be a pretty good test. And then I also have a Halloween buzz that if I have time, I'm gonna be reviewing later. That since Drew loves the buzz, and this looks kind of like a buzz, but not quite the same. Definitely more cherry-like. More round on the top, buzz is a little flatter and blunter, and there's a deeper bevel than this sector has. So you're gonna have to put a decent amount of hyzer and just try to ride that tree and give ourselves a putt. Yes! Oh my gosh, dude. Wow. This like really is that, like I call it 5501 because when you get into 5502, you get into like overstable mid territory, like the Kotuku that Drew throws as well, which is also a disc that I like that I might have to revisit. And like the Guava from Clash Discs, the EMAC Truth, like that one's a little straighter. But 5501, you think of like an MD3. You almost think of a Buzz, Pathfinder. Buzz is, they call it -11, but it depends on the run. This really seems to be in that like Pathfinder, Chariot, MD3 conversation. Wow, it fights it so well and just glides through it. That's really, really nice. Here's the chicane. That really just seems like a faster zone. Oh my gosh. Wow, these are winners. That is so impressive. pulled it a little. It may even be as overstable as that Z zone. Huh. So here's my spread. We have the white sector, pink chicane, orange chicane, green sector parked, zone. So, if anything, just a little bit faster zone. Hey, realized I was hanging you guys hanging a little bit because I was hanging you guys hanging, whatever. I didn't film the Halloween Buzz comparison. Halloween Buzz video actually is going to be coming out relatively soon. I'm excited about that. This is the Halloween Buzz. I threw it flat to Anheuser. I didn't really have a lot of great shots throwing them side by side, but I did a couple warm-up shots that were very similar power. This is like a slight Annie trying to flex it to flat. And then this is the sector on a slight hyzer to flat. Just holds very, honestly, they're very, very similar. The Halloween ESP Glow Buzz and the sector, super similar. And you, just like I said earlier, I think 5501-ish or 5 negative 0.51. It just depends on what type of flight number conventions you want. You can probably give it a negative 1.1. You can give it a 0.1, but I think it's 5 speed, 5 to 6 glide. It does have a decent tick of glide. That's the one thing I'll figure out is you'll see throughout the rest of this video. There might be a little bit of interesting glide because of the way that the dome is shaped. That, I mean, I still think it's worth a shot for me. And I'll talk about it more, but that's my Buzz comparison, and that's Baby Bogey upstairs. All right, nice little shorty over there to the right. Feels so good. We do have a left to right. I think throw it on hyzer and almost kind of, not throw it too high because the wind I think will take it, but. Dude, circle one skis. What, I mean, what more do you want? Double Mando? Oh! All right, double Mando with the sector. Wow, is that nice? I don't see a world in which I don't at least give that disc a rotation in my bag for the next month or so. I still have time to figure out if it's a little finicky or not, but so far, just seems to do everything that I want every time. Not every time. Oh God. Okay, I lied. I thought this was perfect. It is just outside the circle. I'm gonna try to do my Drew putt. Let's go. This one's gonna be a bit hard to film, but I wanna see how these fly if I throw them pretty firm. I'm pretty sure the basket's in a 400 something foot position out to the right, which is gonna be perfect to see kind of how these will hold on turn and how stable they are when you throw them fast. Ooh, that was a really bad throw. I'm gonna have to make par from there. Wow, I thought the first one showed me the hyzer flip a little better. That is really nice. First one I like the throw, I just pulled the line. Second one I like the throw, I just threw too much hyzer. So I guess I don't hate the throws. So the basket is right to the right of that tree. And the good news is the sharp pad, where I probably would have played from if I didn't want to give those rips and end up shanking them a little bit, is like right in front of us. So I think it's just gonna be a little forehand. Wow, man, such an easy flyer for me. So I'm not too disappointed with this sector. Didn't really get any wind help, just kind of hyzer flipped it up to flat. And it's still like maybe 20 or 30 feet short. Oh, geez. I had my coffee in here and I forgot to lock it, and I thought it was fire ants and it was getting on my back. That hurt. Guess my thermos is good. All that craziness to say, I think I got pretty good distance with that. It seems to be fly as far as my other mid-ranges, maybe a little farther even. It just seems easy to spin it and throw it well. Parktown. So you'll be able to see the basket through there. There are a couple ways to get there. We do have this left to right still, and it's about 315 feet, so the forehand is tough with something this slow for my baby arm. 3 through 6 is not bad. I'd love to get 1 or 2 more. Try to go 5 through 9. We've already beaten our goal. 313 is what it calls it, so I think I could potentially get there with the chicane. We can pretend like that didn't happen, okay? That was so bad. I think I didn't finish the throw. I just tried to get it on the angle and didn't actually finish it with my shoulder. That's better. Okay, I guess it's not as overstable as it needed to be, but that's still, I mean, that's circle 2 and probably about the right distance. I just didn't have the right shape. Much better correction on that. We'll try this sector through that same gap. I mean, dude, what the heck? It's like 30 long. That thing likes to go. Holy cow. Now, I'm not the biggest mid-range person because I haven't had the best lineup for a while. But I think Drew Gibson made the perfect mid-range for me in my game. At least my new favorite one. So, that's pretty clutch. Sit down. Okay, that's fine. This was that forehand that I actually threw well. Pretty much a perfect shot, except it wasn't overstable enough. I'm also impressed that these are consistent, between these two discs. You never know quite what you're gonna get, but they fly pretty much identically. Saving pars, 3 down. Can't wait for this place to get some friggin' tape pads back, but this is a little bit of a pump. I think it's like 320 or so downhill. Do have a little right to left, so I think I'm gonna try to throw a flat to flex shot out to the right and just let it fade in with the wind. Birdie. That's what we're looking for, baby. Got 4 of them going into the last hole. I would say, if you can, definitely check out these discs.
Surprise, should have asked this. They're not out. They're not. There's not even like a release date yet, but probably more than a month from now. So get wrecked. Sorry that sorry I have these a little early. I actually really like them. So once the stock runs come out, we'll probably revisit them. They might have been in my bag for a while, and we could see how like a month-long beat-in versus a new one looks. But once these do come out, they definitely would be worth getting your hands on if you can. But you can't now. I'm sorry. I thought they were out, and that's up me. But also get wrecked. Subscribe.
I also know that Finish Line tends to come in a little cheaper than a lot of other premium plastic discs, and these feel super up to par. I'm very impressed with them. I don't know how they'll beat in. Obviously, it's my first round with them, but over the next couple months, I'll be able to tell you because these are definitely going in the bag. I'm toying around with putting these in the bag too because they're very much like my Z Zones. Probably a little cheaper replacements. Also, Drew signed a contract and they'll definitely replace it, but try to get another birdie. It's like 276 up the hill. Perfect sector shot, I think. No! Well, that shot's so bad they set off the fire alarms. Yikes. I don't even think there's really a look here. Maybe something crazy. Oh, that was not bad. All right, I can't leave you with the shank on what I've been talking up as one of my favorite mid-ranges. Dude, a nice, beautiful little Chicane park job. Hope you have a great day.